August 15, 2025, a Russian cargo vessel, Port Olya 4, departed from Olya port. It appeared to be a routine voyage on a safe Russian waterway. Ukrainian intelligence revealed the cargo Iranian Shahed drone parts and ammunition. These supplies were vital for Russia's long-range strike campaign targeting Moscow. The journey seemed safe deep within Russian territory, surrounded by allies. Ukraine had other plans tracking the vessel's progress across the Caspian Sea. A Ukrainian long-range strike drone was flying through the night sky. Its radar cross-section was minimal, engines tuned for silence. This wasn't a probing strike, it was a message to Russia. The drone targeted Russia's confidence, its assumption of Caspian Sea safety. Moscow portrayed the Caspian as an inner sanctuary beyond reach. It was landlocked far from the front lines, heavily monitored by air defenses. At 4:17 that morning, that theory collapsed. Minutes later, flames engulfed the deck of the Port Olya 4. Black smoke billowed into the dawn sky. For the Russian Navy, this was a major embarrassment. This was a wake-up call. If Ukraine could strike here deep inside the Caspian, then nowhere was safe. The strike demonstrated Ukrainian ingenuity. It shattered the image of the Caspian as a sanctuary. The attack exposed vulnerabilities in Russian defenses. The incident raised serious questions about security. The strike was a clear demonstration of Ukraine's capabilities. For years, the Caspian Sea was off-limits, a Russian sanctuary. Moscow portrayed it as beyond the reach of Western weapons. The logic landlocked far from the front, heavily defended. But at 4:17 a.m., that theory collapsed spectacularly. Minutes later, flames licked across the deck of Port Olya 4. Black smoke curled into the dawn sky, a sign of disaster. This was a wake-up call. Nowhere was truly safe anymore. At 4:25 a.m., 8 minutes after the attack began, Ukrainian operators gave the command for a counterstrike. A long-range strike drone launched from beyond the Caspian. Its path pre-programmed hugging terrain to avoid radar. The drone crossed hundreds of kilometers undetected. It logged onto its final approach, skimming meters above water. Its radar signature, barely more than a bird's, almost invisible. Russia's air defenses, optimized for high-altitude threats, were blind to the low-speed intruder. Operators watched for ballistic arcs, not a low-flying drone. The drone dragged a small but lethal warhead. When the strike came, it was mercilessly precise. The drone slammed into the starboard side of the vessel. The warhead detonated inside the cargo hold. Wooden crates packed with Iranian drone engines exploded. The result was catastrophic, a floating inferno. By 4:35 a.m., the vessel was burning from bow to stern. Attempts to call for help were frantic and confused. The strike was mercilessly precise, a drone slamming into the vessel's starboard side. The warhead detonated inside the cargo hold packed with Iranian drone engines. The result was catastrophic. By 4:35 a.m., the vessel was engulfed in flames. Black smoke and orange flames turned the pre-dawn horizon into a floating inferno. Russian port authorities initially refused to believe the reports. A Ukrainian drone in the Caspian Sea seemed impossible, yet it was very possible. The attack on Port Olya 4 didn't happen in a vacuum. To understand the strike, one must understand the Caspian Sea and Moscow's view. The Caspian looks like an oversized lake locked away from the world. No connection to NATO waters, no Ukrainian shoreline, just 5 bordering states. From Moscow's perspective, these were friendly or neutral waters. This illusion gave the sea outsized importance to Russia's logistics. Astrakhan and Port Olya became vital logistics hubs for Moscow. Port Olya 4 wasn't just moving cargo, it was moving future strikes. Each engine represented a Shahed drone that could strike a Ukrainian power plant. Each circuit board meant another night of air sirens in Kyiv. Targeting such a vessel was not symbolic. It was a direct hit on Russia's terror supply chain. The geography reinforced Moscow's complacency in the Caspian Sea. Unlike the Black Sea, the Caspian was thought to be out of reach. Russian commanders didn't waste resources on convoys or escorts here. From their perspective, the Caspian was like a private lake. That's why the strike on Port Olya 4 mattered so significantly. The strike demonstrated a critical vulnerability in Russia's logistics network. The geography had reinforced Moscow's complacency, unlike the Black Sea. In the Black Sea, Ukrainian drones and Western surveillance give Kiev room to maneuver. The Caspian was thought to be out of reach, so Russian commanders were complacent. From their perspective, the Caspian was like a private lake, safe and secure. The strike mattered so much because it shattered not only a ship, but a doctrine. The idea that distance and geography could guarantee safety was proven false. If a drone could navigate hundreds of kilometers, no port was beyond reach. No refinery and no logistics hub was beyond reach for Kiev's drones. It was a message sanctuaries don't exist for Moscow anymore. For Moscow, it was a nightmare scenario unfolding before their eyes. The strike on Port Olya 4 hit harder than any warhead could have. The strike struck at Russian pride, a deep and symbolic blow. Within hours, Russian state media scrambled to control the narrative. First reports were vague, a fire aboard a civilian vessel under investigation. Officials downplayed the incident, avoiding any mention of drones or sabotage. But in the age of satellite imagery, that kind of spin doesn't last long. Ukrainian intelligence released overhead images showing the crippled ship. The ship was half-submerged, smoke stains streaking the deck. Independent satellite providers confirmed the same. The evidence was undeniable. This was not an accident. The vessel had been struck, and struck hard. The Russian Ministry of Defense maintained silence, refusing to comment. Pro-Kremlin outlets floated alternative explanations: faulty wiring. Pro-Kremlin outlets floated alternative explanations: an engine room fire. Independent providers confirmed the damage. It was no accident. The vessel had been struck hard, undeniable evidence. Faulty wiring and engine room fire crew negligence. International observers quickly picked up the story. Western analysts highlighted Ukraine's technical leap. Striking in the Caspian proved Kiev could build long-range drones. Drones capable of flying extraordinary distances, navigating deep into enemy airspace with surgical accuracy. If Ukraine could reach Olya, what else could they target? Refineries, shipyards, or even naval bases further along the Caspian. For Russia's navy, the implications were chilling. The Caspian flotilla was once considered secure. Now every ship at anchor is a potential target. Every cargo waiting at dockside is a potential target. Resources would have to be diverted, air defenses shifted. Patrol routes extended, escorts assigned to supply vessels. Logistics became more complex overnight. The political reverberations spread beyond Moscow. Tehran was also watching closely. Iran's strategy relied on the Caspian route being secure. If Ukraine could cut off that lifeline, Iran's leverage would diminish. Ukraine's leadership seized the moment. Officials openly hinted. The need to divert resources increased significantly. Air defense batteries were shifted and patrol routes extended. Escorts were assigned to supply vessels, increasing security. Reports circulated that Iranian advisors were urging Russia to harden defenses. They feared further strikes that might sink ships. Officials openly hinted that no Russian part is beyond reach. It was psychological warfare as much as physical. Commanders had to rethink what rear area really meant. Keith's message was blunt: distance does not equal safety. The strike emboldened Ukraine's allies. Questions swirled about the tangible difference support was making. The smoking hull of Port Olya 4 was proof of Ukraine's capabilities. Ukraine could innovate, adapt, and strike asymmetrically. A drone built in workshops punched through Russia's safe zones. Russia's logistics chain had just been bloodied, its myth of sanctuary shattered. Ukraine redrew the map of vulnerability with one strike. This was about rewriting the rules of the war. Geography had always been Russia's ally. Now that assumption is gone. Ukraine shattered Russia's sanctuary myth with a bold strike. This audacious move redrew the map of vulnerability. It wasn't just about one ship. It was a rules rewrite. Geography, once Russia's ally, is no longer a guarantee. Distance and defenses no longer ensure safety. Moscow's confidence in safe zones is now shattered. Commanders must plan as if every target is reachable. Ships, refineries, hubs, all are potential targets. Even the heart of Russia is now within reach. For Kyiv, the message is clear: we can reach you anywhere. A powerful deterrent and morale boost for Ukraine. For Moscow, it's a multiplying headache. Every kilometer of coastline and ship is now vulnerable. The Black Sea Fleet thought it was safe. It wasn't. It challenged Ukraine and paid the ultimate price. If Ukraine can hit the Caspian Sea, where next?